Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's Crash Bandicoot figure, which I know came out a little while ago, but I got it now, so we're reviewing it now. And it's a popular character, and for all we know, he's going to be in Smash at one of these next announcements. It's very possible he makes the roster, so that's kind of an exciting thing. So this guy, it's a pretty cool figure. It does some things exceptionally well. A couple things not so well. There's a few issues we definitely need to talk about, but overall, it's definitely a good figure, and I think most people are going to like it. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands to the top of his hair just a little bit over 6 inches, so not very tall, and that's going to make him just about 15.5 centimeters. And if you're curious how that scales with maybe some other figures in your collection, here's one of the NECA Ninja Turtles next to him, and so he's not the biggest figure in the world. And this, for clarification's sake, is one of the Comic-Con ones, not the quarter scale ones, just in case anybody, trust me, somebody out there was asking in their head which it was. So he's not very big, but I think that's okay. It's going to suit it very well if he does end up making it in Smash. This guy will fit in very nicely with your Smash collection, so that's kind of awesome. He does come with one accessory, which is just this cardboard box, this crate that you can fold up. It comes in the back part of the packaging, and then you just fold it, and that's it. It's nice enough, I guess, if you want a cardboard box. To me, that kind of accessory, not necessarily worth them even bothering with, but it doesn't hurt, so that's okay. Now, as far as the details on this guy goes, I like the sculpt a whole bunch. I think they pretty much nailed it. And we'll get to the articulation, which is mostly really impressive, but there are some paint issues which we definitely need to talk about. The first of which is just kind of a minor thing. I wish their shading, like from the dark spots to the light spots, especially around on the face, wish they were a lot more subtle. Especially on the back here, it looks a little bit weird, but it's not a big deal. Now, there are two things that are kind of a big deal. One is that this hair, the mohawk part, should definitely be a different color. If anything, it should be the dark color from his fur, but it's usually darker than that. In every image I could find of it, it's always a darker shade of fur rather than lighter. So it's a little wrong. It's a lot wrong. It's a little, I guess, irritating that it's not accurate, because it changes the look of the character, unfortunately. So that's a bummer. And then the other bummer with the paint is that the shoulders are sticky. And then when you pose them, as you can see on this side right here, I've already moved the shoulder around, it scratches off a little bit, so that's an issue. I definitely would prefer those to not be issues. Okay. Otherwise, I'm very pleased with it. It's definitely good enough for the paint. Now let's talk about the articulation. First of all, we have little double ball pegs for the eyebrows, which are nice. You can pose them however you want to. You can change his look fairly easily by just moving around the eyebrows, which is good for this character. I'm very pleased with how they executed that. And if you really, really wanted to, I'm not suggesting this, I'm not even condoning it, I'm just letting you know it's a possibility. The ball pegs, the ball itself is significantly larger than the hole, which means you could trim the hole just a little bit, and that would give you even more range for the eyebrows if you really wanted to. But again, I'm not suggesting it because you would have to remove that ball peg, and that is, of course, risky in terms of breaking that peg. So the eyebrows are posable. Now the head. Now this is one I really want to point out because I got a lot of flack when I said the SH Figuarts Mario head couldn't move nearly as well as it should have been able to because he doesn't have a neck, and I said they could have given him a little bit of a neck if they wanted to and it would have worked and whatever, and everybody complained. This guy clearly has no neck at all. Zero neck. But watch this. He can look almost straight up. He can look all the way forward, not quite all the way down because you have to have limitations. It rotates. It leans side to side. This guy's head moves all over his entire body. It's incredibly well executed. And this is for a $20 NECA figure, not SH Figuarts Mario. You're telling me SH Figuarts couldn't figure out how to pose Mario's head? Yeah, they could have. It was just poorly executed. This is fantastically executed. Bravo on NECA for this. Exceptional. I was not expecting it to work this well. They did a really good job. Paint for the mouth, by the way, is also very clean. So let's go ahead and talk about the shoulders. They technically have the range, but like I said, it will scratch, so you can raise it up just about horizontal. Full rotation, of course. Elbows have just a single hinge with a rotation, so you get basically 90 degrees with a rotation. And then the wrists have a swivel and a hinge, which is okay, I guess. And that's it for that. Now for the torso, we just have this diaphragm type joint right here, which is okay. It leans forward and back, which is good. So in conjunction with the head, it works really well. Very, very nicely done. Leans side to side. It rotates. It's really well executed. Love that diaphragm joint. There's no lower torso articulation, which this drives me nuts. It probably won't bother most people, but the belly button area is off center from the tie for his pants, which is in the center. That is just eating me up. I hate that. So if you want to line up the paint even, you have to lean him off to the side a little bit. Now you can kind of just recorrect it with the head, but the navel does not line up in the center of his body. And my undiagnosed OCD cannot handle that. That is driving me absolutely insane. There's no posability or anything there. It's all one piece. So that's going to permanently be off center, and I can't handle that. Most of you probably can. So for the hips, we just have a ball peg, and this is another thing that really bugs me, not like that, in like a practical way. The hips are almost useless. They have just a little bit of wiggle forward and back, a little bit of side to side, and not really any rotation. So I don't really understand what's happening here. I don't know why they couldn't just put horizontal barbell in the crotch and then just let the hips peg onto that, because then at least you could bring them forward. But these barely allow you to bring them forward. They're just almost useless, and they're floppy. So that's really, really bad. You do get a swivel and a hinge at the knee, so that does give you some posability. But with the lack of posability for the hips, posability in the knee is kind of worthless. So I really don't understand why the hips just don't have a more basic yet functional situation. I don't get that. And then for the ankles, you get a ball peg, and it's fairly minimal. You can lean the foot forward barely. You can lean it back a little bit, and then you can lean it sideways just barely again. So it's just minimal. So, I mean, I get that they had to spend the money on the sculpt, because obviously they're not, although they are reissuing this a bunch of different times, so I feel like they would have made their money back. They could have spent a little bit more on the articulation. But we have some absolutely fantastic articulation on this figure, and then we have some absolutely terrible articulation on this figure. So overall, I'm going to recommend it because it's still a really cool Crash figure. I mean, because it's Crash Bandicoot, and it mostly does things really well, and it's going to look good enough on a shelf. But there are definitely some drawbacks going on here. Another one I'd like to point out is the fingers look kind of like they have Cheeto dust on them, because they're very orange compared to even the top of the hand there and the rest of the body. So it definitely could be better, even from NECA. I'm not saying it could be better if it costs more. It could be better at the price point, but it's still good enough. I like it, and I'm willing to look past most of these things, but if you're not, that's fine, and you have the information now to decide for yourself. I'm going to recommend it. I think the neck and the torso alone make it worth it, and maybe the eyebrows. Those are really, really cool features, and even though it's just articulation, it's really well executed. I love it. So there you go. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up just about every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for that, and in the meantime, keep collecting.